value of each of the following trig functions. So we got tangent 9 pi over 4. Okay, using calculator, we get a decimal value, so that's not good. So let's figure out what exactly this angle is. I would like to change this into degrees, so I get better idea here. 9 pi over 4. Pi is 180. So 45. Okay. Then what is this now? 45 times 9. 405. So this is essentially 405 degrees. We know that sine, cosine, tangent, after 360, their values repeat. So we can subtract 360. But for tangent, its period is even shorter. It's 180. We can subtract 180 as many times as we like. But this is bigger than 360. So let's subtract 360 from this one. 405 minus 360. 405 minus 360, that's 45. Now tangent pi over 4. And we know that from the unit circle, tangent pi over 4, that's in the first quadrant. Okay, we fill in the unit circle last time in the previous video, so that's 1. Tangent pi over 4 or tangent 45 is 1. Okay, next let's do the same thing. Let's convert this in degrees. 19 pi over 6. 19 pi over 6. 19 times 180 degrees over 6. This goes 30. 570. So this will be 570, bigger than 360. So subtract 360 from this one. So we get cosine 360 to 10. Okay, now 210. Okay, what is that? 210. So this is 90 pi over 2, 180, 270, 360. So 210 is a little bit more than 180, so it will be here. Starting here, we need to go counterclockwise, so 280. So that's in third quadrant. We know that the signs A, S, T, C, all the students take calculus. So only tangent would be positive, tangent and cotangent. So cosine of that, whatever value, that will be negative for sure, because we are in the third quadrant. Now we can always go back to the reference angle 210. Reference angle means any angle related in the first quadrant. Or if you have filled in the unit circle, then you can just find the value, cosine 220. We have done this in previous video, by the way. 210 is here, 7 pi over 6. This is 210. And cosine is simply x coordinate, negative root 3 over 2. So this is negative root 3 over 2. Or if you want to go to the reference angle, I was about to go that way. Cosine in the third quadrant here, negative. We can get to the first quadrant, and always we work with 180 and 360. We subtract the angle from 180, or subtract 180 from that angle, or subtract from 360, or subtract 360. Only 180 and 360, so that we get a positive angle. So this is bigger than 180, so subtract 180 from this one. So that's cosine 30. So 30 degrees is the reference angle, and we already used the correct angle, correct sign, negative. And cosine 30, okay, we know that is root 3 over 2. So if we just memorize the values in first quadrant, then we can always bring any angle to the first quadrant and find the value. Or if you have unit circle, fill in unit circle, then up to 360 you can just use the unit circle. So here let's do the same thing. What is 11 pi over 6? 11 pi over 4. pi is 180, and it's going to be 495. 180, let's do it, 495. So that's 495, bigger than 360, so subtract 360. So sine 135. Okay, subtracting 360 from this one. 135, that is in the second quadrant, right? Where is this? That's 90, 180, 135 is somewhere here. Doesn't have to be exact. That's 135 in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, sine will have positive value, so just positive, or don't have to write. 135, we can go to the first quadrant if we like, or just look at the unit circle. If we go to the unit circle, okay, that I'll go later. So to get to the first quadrant angle, that's called reference angle, we subtract 180 from this, or subtract this from 180, so that we get positive angle, less than 180. So 180 minus 135 would be 45. So positive value, because second quadrant sine is positive, sine 45. Now it's positive, don't have to write. Sine 45 is root 2 over 2. Or sine 135 from unit circle, okay, here. This is 45, this is 135. Sine is second coordinate, root 2 over 2. Okay, so let's continue. Secant 10 pi over 3. What is 10 pi over 3? Okay, pi is 180. 60 times 10, 600. Bigger than 360, so subtract 360 from 600. So what is that then? 240. So 240. So where is 240? Let's figure out the quadrant. That's the 270. That's 90. 180. 240 is, I don't know, somewhere here. Okay, this is starting 0, 90, 180, a little bit more. That's in third quadrant. And if we look at the quadrant rule, ASTC, only tangent and cotangent have positive value. So secant in the third quadrant will have negative. Okay, negative 240, we can always go back to reference angle in the first quadrant. Okay, 240, subtract 180, that's the closer, 60. So secant 60. We don't have, secant is reciprocal of cosine. We know that cosine 60, that's 1/2. Reciprocal would be 2. So this is negative 2. So the final answer is negative 2. Or when we bring the angle down to less than 360, okay, then we could have used unit circle. Okay, from here to 40, we find value of cosine 240 and find the reciprocal. Cosine 240. Okay, here 240 is this. Negative 1/2. Cosine 240 is negative 1/2. So secant 240 would be just negative 2. But we went all the way to the reference angle. Okay. Similarly, 17 times 180 over 3, cosecant, replace pi by 180 degrees. I mean, it's easy that way. 120. 1020, 1020. Subtract 360. 660. Okay, this is still bigger than 360. Subtract 360 one more time. Cosecant 300. Now we have two options. We can go to the unit circle. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, or we can bring this angle back to first quadrant. 300 would be where? So let me erase this. So 300 is bigger than 270 a little bit, so this will be 300. So we want to go to the first quadrant. So subtract from 360 or subtract 360, which one is, then you get the angle less than 90. So 360 minus 360. So this value cosine 300 will have, cosecant 300 will have, I mean any trig function 300 will have plus or minus 60, because 360 minus 300 is 60. And looking at this one, only cosine and secant have positive values, cosecant will have negative. So we can do in that way. And cosecant is reciprocal of sine. We know that sine 60 from unit circle, or somehow we know that's root 3 over 2. So reciprocal would be then, the negative is negative 2 over root 3. Okay, if you use unit circle, you can go directly from there. Cosecant 300 is reciprocal of sine 300. Sine means y coordinate 300. Let's look at the unit circle. Okay, this is 300 by the way. 345. Sorry, my bad. That's not 345. This is 315. Anyway, this one, and this is sine 300 is this one. So cosecant would be reciprocal, negative 2 over 3. Okay, that's what we found here, final.